again. So, what do you guys think? I feel like it has died down a little bit, the clanks factor, but it's still scary.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in the hands of Imbo Boy.
Yeah, they're just
The
so good
best Clanks player there is.
at it.
One
Super,
thing
super scary.
One thing that I was curious about though is that they saw the first pick Clanks, but Proboss still decided to first pick the Parasite. Maybe they want Parasite, or maybe they're more comfortable with just getting it out of Tinkerfett's hands. But honestly, I would have liked to see a first pick Andromeda coming out from Probosk, because that's like a crucial hero in the Clank strategy.
Hmm.
Oh,
It well, they get Sandray too.
Serath is a pretty good hero against Clanks with
Yeah.
his ultimate, letting you get right on top of him.
I mean, Parasite's also considered decent, to be fair, with the leech, with the face hug, how it even steals the hawk. So, like, there's benefit to him too.
Um, See, I don't know, but I think that they might be going for the global gank strategy against the Clanks. So maybe there might be a third pick Tundra, maybe.
Yeah, that's see. And now I'm wondering if you're ECX here, and you notice obviously they ran it many times themselves. Yeah, that's something that you could pick. Would they pick a Tundra here? I'd be
I could
curious.
see them definitely picking a Tundra here. Uh, Overall, just a really good hero. Zane plays it as a really he plays it as a good suicide hero.
Mhm.
So I think they could pick it if they really want to take it away from Fresh. So to go with the Wild Soul.
Ooh, wow. So okay.
Find it interesting that they choose to go for the Wild Soul, seeing as how they already have a Clanks. And normally when we see ECX pick up Clanks, they normally pick up for more protection or just like team fighting heroes in general, not like any more cores, so to speak, like late game cores, that is. So I'm a little surprised to see Wild Soul. It's a hero that definitely absorbs a lot of farm throughout the game, and that means once Clanks picks up the Thunderclaw, he's gonna have to basically share farm with the Wild Soul.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So we'll have to see
but
how
one thing
that
about Wild
progresses.
Soul is that you can lane it almost anywhere. You can lane it in the safe lane or jungle or the suicide lane.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't seen the full lineup from ECX yet, so pretty much as you pointed out, this pick could go anywhere as of right now.
I feel like we've talked about that so much, but honestly, in fact, I even brought this up yesterday to Regrosta, had him on, and Wild Soul has only been seen as a jungler as far as matches that we've casted. Now, I don't know, how it's ultimately been, but man, he's just so good in the jungle. So, yeah, I guess the point stands that yes, he still could play in other lanes, but with the way he farms now, I mean, we saw Teltuk yesterday. He had 600 GPM at something like 12 minutes or something. Like it was ridiculous. Like, so
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
About the first picking Parasite though, they can't. I mean, I guess they can man up from Fresh, but I don't think they will because Moira is pretty weak in man ups unless it's in the tri lane, and Sandwraith you typically want to lane him in the safe lane. So even though they did first pick Clanks, I don't think Fresh is going to punish it by manning up.
Yeah, I agree with you. It looks to me like they want to go with a similar type of mid to late game strategy um, as a response to ECX's lineup.
Hmm. Well, we got the bans happening here, and using a bit of time on the bans is either side, in fact. So, kind of interesting about that. More Axis Tundra Bubbles coming out. So, hey, also see that's also something. Busk banning out the Tundra there as an option. So, I know they were right-clicking deadlift earlier, so I wonder if that could be something. That's something we have talked with seeing deadlift a little bit. One of the ideas is that if you go against a wild soul, deadlift actually can be seen as decent because of the onslaught and how it turns Boo Boo on him. So that's something there.
Yeah. The one thing about Deadlift versus Wild Soul that I will comment on is that um, Wild Souls don't typically build the bear anymore. So even though he could, as you pointed out,
True.
have the onslaught control the bear isn't like we've talked about. I think it was on the other cast where like something like a Malphus, like a Hellbringer Malphus, that if you take over that and force it on the enemy team, that would do like tons of damage. But if you just take over Boo Boo, Boo Boo doesn't really do a whole lot unless he can get like a swipe or two off. But Yeah,
So
I mean,
if you
yeah.
sorry, if you send deadlift or you use WSW and you send boo boo on someone, does it actually use the swipe ability on like its
Well,
own team?
the way I would imagine it works is that there's a two charge system on the swipe where if you don't manually activate it, it'll automatically cast
Hmm.
after two auto attacks. So I would imagine it works the same way if you take it over, seeing as how it's not controllable, it would just automatically swipe. So I believe it would work that way, at least in theory crafting
Yeah, no,
terms.
I'm the same belief. Yeah, and I haven't tested it, but yeah, it seems like that would make sense for sure. So, well, it all may be for naught in the end, because yeah, I don't know if it's going to be happening here, but it's interesting to bring up nonetheless. Kraken into Gladiator is what we do see, however, coming out on either side. So, Gladiator, is that going to be a middle Gladiator, maybe? Well,
I think so.
yeah,
I
makes sense.
I'm personally not too sure how I feel about the Kraken pickup just yet. I don't know if I really like that pick as of yet. And it's just gonna be another core that needs to farm. Like Kraken is one of those heroes that he needs to have a portal key to really start to become really effective. And on top of already having the Clanks and the Wild Soul, that just means E6 is going for basically the same type of a strategy they went in the last game, where they need all of these core items to be picked up before they can really start to achieve anything.
Hmm.
And on the other side, I really like the Gladiator pick because going up against the Wild Soul, as well as the Clanks, but in terms of just going up against the Wild Soul, Gladiator outputs a lot of AoE damage, and he does true damage as well with the whip. So that's going to ignore all of the armor aspect coming out from Wild Soul. But yeah, that shared damage when he's in the melee form, if he hits or if he takes a call to arms as well as a pitfall combo, that's a lot of amp damage that Wild Soul will take from just the shared damage alone.
Yeah. And how about that final pick? Speaking of Wild Soul, another way to kind of address him. We saw it yesterday even. Again, Lord South Forest, that ultimate is pretty powerful against Wild Soul. It completely negates his lifesteal, which is obviously a big part of him, especially in that ultimate form. So,
Yeah.
solid final pick.
Yeah, and although if you look at it on paper, like Fresh's lineup has some funky looking hero pick slash combinations going on, I overall kind of like their lineup a little bit more. I feel like how well they've almost counterpicked in a way how ECX is drafted. I feel like as long as they play the early game well, I feel like when they go to do team fights, they have a big advantage, seeing as how they've picked to address a lot of these heroes from ECX's side.
Yeah.
And we also have a final pick of Cthulhu Font, going to be played by Zane here in the off lane, it looks like. Actually, might be. Are they
Jungle.
jungling in like a mana
Uh,
tri lane, actually?
You see, yeah, I don't like this what Fresh is doing because Fresh, honestly, they don't have a red ward on them. So all the Nier has to do is he can block his own hard camp, and Parasite can't really man up against the Wild Soul because the bear does so much damage to neutral creeps if you just push him out.
Huh.
Mhm.
This is really interesting though. Yeah, what is going on here? Because you see, yeah, as you mentioned, Fresh, they're sending the aggressive dual lane here, pseudo trial lane. You got the same thing coming out from ECX, though. Apparently, are they going to double jungle? Is that what's happening here? Like send a
Um,
Cthulhu Fun in the aggressive, and
Tankafet
then
Tankafet has been known from time to time to step into the solo laning role. We see him play very occasionally. We'll see him lane with War Beast or Wild Soul. More notably, Revenant is one of his more popular solo lane heroes, as well as I think I've even seen him play Tempest in the short lane or even mid. So it's not really a surprise to me to see ECX do this, but yeah, definitely something to point out is that Tankafet is going to be laning this game, not jungling.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I didn't notice that ECX was actually manning up as well. I thought they were going to go tri lane, this tri lane.
Yeah, they do send the pseudo trialing up here themselves. So yeah, both teams kind of avoiding each other, you could say, as a
Parasite bottom lane,
result.
in a cat man, gonna go for this kill.
Oh, yep, there's the stun. Here's the pitfall. It's going to line up beautifully here. Is this a kill? It should be. Easy kill in the end. Yep, Bunny Lover on the Moira getting credit for the bloodless kill. So, yeah, the aggressive Parasite. You got to wonder if I mean, by the time, knowing that Gladiator and Moira were there, he probably would have expected it, so, or should have suspected it, so. Gets caught.
Yeah, it was a really nice job just by all three of them to line up the pitfall after the Shards of Harkon and then to save the Catman stomp for after the pitfall wore off. And the Catman is arguably the best creep that Parasite could get at level 1, just simply due to the damage output it does. You get 150 damage from the smash, which is a lot of damage when heroes are level 1. So a nice job deciding to make that rotation and get that first blood.
And you see at the top lane, Cthulhu Fawn trying to do the similar right here. He is ready to eat through the trees, the one tree that he has left here, and go for the stun, but Samwraith not going to give him that chance here. He's instead going to just do a simple one-stack pull, and we'll work off of that farm. Meanwhile, the Legion jungle, actually, Moira and Parasite finding a couple of friends over here. Wild Soul dropped about half-life, but with Kraken being nearby, but I mean, that means Kraken has to kind of babysit the Wild Soul there. Because of what was going on. So he does come back and, starts getting last hits again, but still, they don't want to necessarily be investing Kraken to be protecting this Wild Soul here either. So, yeah, this really is turning to be interesting because it does end up being, in essence, kind of a double jungle strategy here with how it's being set up. And well, Cthulhu Fawn's rotating. Is he going to actually go into the lane now? What is going on here?
Yeah,
and
I guess
although...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, and although they didn't get a kill on either the Wild Soul or the Kraken, they forced Kraken to rotate out of the mid lane, which gives a little bit of an advantage to Self-Forest. And in the meanwhile, you have Gladiator free farming in the bottom lane. So even though they didn't get a kill, it just forced out rotations to waste time from ECX's side. But yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, they rotated Cthulhu bottom because he's a hard hero to kill. He's tanky, has an escape mechanism, and because he can force Parasite out of the jungle a little bit, and he can just babysit the Wild Soul, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, this team right here is kind of dealing with a little bit, but again, that hook him obviously gives him a pretty strong presence. I mean, overall, this really is a tanky team. I'm looking at it. And the Kraken, the Cthulhu Fawn, the Wild Soul, of course, so quite the tanky mess here on the Legion side, but Clank sees the fragile target, so they're going to want to kind of protect him in that sense. But yeah, it really is coming to be just definitely a different style lineup. The more and more it's kind of absorbing it here for ECX with the Clank's pickup for sure. But we'll see how it works for them this time around. We do see the farm so far. Lord Self-Forest actually is having a fantastic time here in the middle lane. This is with no kills. So he's nearly 400 gold per minute, 27 and 3. Gotta say that's near perfect, if not that.
Yeah, and Self-Forest is one of those heroes that we've actually been seeing a little bit more recently. But I really like him when he's picked up against like heavy strength lineups, as well as when there's a carry that has built-in lifesteal or builds with life-stealing items. So I really like the hero in this case. All of his abilities are really suited to dealing with very tanky presence heroes. So it's a good pickup this game.
Clank's in the meantime, 300 gold per minute here, so doing all right. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's nice that he's having a good start as well, because he is kind of like a snowballing-ish hero that can output a lot of damage as the mid-game comes around.
Yeah. Probusk, is he in trouble? No, the stun at the last second. What a play from Moira coming in here, getting the Shards of Harkon out. But now you see Sandra, he's like, okay, I can't get out. I got a TP. Moira does get picked up, but at what cost here is Parasite looking for the turn kill onto Andromeda. Needs one more auto attack. He's going to get it in the end, and now Clanks actually does need a retreat. So well played there, ultimately cleaning up and making it a 1-for-1, and the fact that Sandwraith lived a pretty big deal on top of that for Fresh here. So they continue their solid lead. And I want to go back to Self-Forest for a second, too. We have, as you mentioned, we haven't seen a little bit more of him. He kind of has an interesting style of build, I've noticed, of like a tablet into a possible sheepstick, more of a very supportive style kind of items. What do you guys think about? Why do you think those are good on a hero like Self-Forest?
Yeah, I'm actually really glad you brought that up. I know you guys had a big discussion about Staff and the Master as well yesterday, but we can maybe save that for later. So as far as items go, I really like items like Tablet. We have a kill in the bottom lane.
Yeah.
Gladiators go down. That's actually a really big kill, as he was having a really good time. So nice rotations by ECX. But South Forest is more of like a caster kind of semi-carry. He does a lot of damage through his spells, and his auto attacks scale pretty well with the life tap ability. You do get, I believe it's 100% life steal when it is level 4. So you're even when you build throughout the game, your items scale really well with the life tap ability. You can life steal even with like life stealing items. You can pick up like rift shards on the hero. It's not something we normally see, but like you can get a big crit and life steal 100% off the crit. So that ability allows him to scale, but items like tablet help him progress into the mid game. Obviously, you can TP away from him, similar to like an Arachna. So having a way to stop teleports is always nice.
Yeah.
As well as just position yourself on top of them with the life tap. So those items are all really good for the hero and help him progress.
Makes sense there. Bottom lane, Gladiator again in a little bit of trouble. You do see the flank coming out from Andromeda at the haste string. Gladiator gets caught. Moira's here as well, but can't really do enough as Gladiator eventually is going to be taken out. But we do see Samwraith, he actually did pour it in, by the way, and Clanks goes down. It took me a while to realize that. Well, the illusion of the chaos going on. We do see Moira is going to get picked up by Andromeda to finish it. But now Samwraith, he's going for the double tap, and, well, at least the Hellborn gets credit for the kill right there when it's all said and done. So the 2-for-2 exchange, again, I don't think too bad by any means for Fresh, as obviously they got Clanks and Samwraith even participating there with an assist.
Yeah, and although they did lose the Gladiator, they in return got the Clanks, and then of course the 2 supports. So a pretty even exchange. However, every time you kill the Clanks, you gotta feel like it's like a mini victory, you know, in your book, as long as your Sandwraith is staying alive. And speaking of Sandwraith,
yes, you were just mentioning staying alive. Well, not doing so well right there.
Caster's Curse. Sorry, Probusk.
You
My bad.
purposely did that. Gladiator coming in. Here comes a combo. He kind of charges in, though. Okay, Parasite's here. That makes more sense. So they do have some good numbers, but the swap out, Andromeda's going to be fine in the long run. You see Parasite. He's trying to hang around. He's actually going to take a stun, though. Panty goes down, so he got a little too confident right there. He ends up falling. Lord South Forest does port in, but by the time he's here, unless this happens, oh, nice pitfall. There's the combo on a Clanks. That was beautiful. Not the biggest wombo combo potential team you wouldn't think, but holy crap. That was nice to see. Release the Kraken coming out, though. Kraken, he's trying to get a counter kill. Gladiator over the ledge. He gets S2'd over the ledge right there, and he's going to be fine for now. He's trying to survive around the tree. The Aurora, though, is going to snipe him out to actually finish him off. A pretty chaotic fight here that we have at the bottom lane. I mean, again, up to you, I guess, who ends up winning the fight, but all I know is there's a lot of kills down here. Lord South Forest, though, he's getting a decent lead over everyone.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to output a lot of damage as, you know, this starts to pick up. The Morris Certissima does a lot of AoE damage on a very low cooldown at this stage in the game. So if he's allowed to use that multiple times in a team fight and hit it on multiple targets, that is a lot of damage coming out from just him alone.
One thing I'm worried about for Fresh, though, is that Panty, he's pretty underleveled right now, and he's not doing that much. I think that he needs to go back into his jungle and recover a little bit.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I don't think he can afford to sit bottom with Cthulhu Font.
Yeah. Yeah, and he has rotated back now, so he's going to start to pick up a little bit of levels.
The action will not stop down here. Yeah, Call of Arms was used at the last second. He actually gets a couple of stuns off. Parasite, what a face hug. At max range, Samwraith, is he going to pour it in? He absolutely is. He gets a kill right there onto Andromeda, actually, and that will end the battle back and forth. So I guess we got some bottom wars going on right here. It's an 8-6 hero kill lead right now in favor of ECX currently, but it may even continue. I mean, they literally are just kind of just staying grouped up down here at this bottom lane still. It's starting to break off now, but yeah, we just had nonstop action at this bottom lane, it feels like.
Yeah, and there's pretty good vision coming out from both sides, and as I say that, Bunny Lover going to spot out Nir's ward here, so we'll have to see if that forces ECX away from this lane or not. Actually, he's not going to get it just yet. But they do have vision on the left side of the trees here of all these rotations, so they're very well aware that everyone's here. Sandwraith ultimate is down, so I don't think that Fresh is looking to fight this head on.
It's really just something. Looking at the mini map here and just constantly seeing the Legion circles always at the bottom portion, but
Yeah.
there again, they actually have to break off now as realizing, all right, so maybe they're not picking a fight anymore. We're just going to push the tower, but something tells me, yeah, this isn't going to be a free tower push. Here we go. TP's coming in. Moira, her illusion wasn't up, actually. If she had her illusion up, they maybe could have set something up there, but they will be able to deny the tower. That's the good news coming up in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tablet's a really good item in this game. Sorry. Tablet's a really good item on this game on Sub Forest because he can tablet away from the Kraken ulti, the Wild Soul, like most of the heroes on Legion side. If you tablet away from them, they don't really have another gap closing ability to get back to the person who was tablet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Tablet is really good against the Kraken, and then you can use it on teammates as well, so if anyone gets caught in it, you pretty much can guarantee their safety. Just overall really nice. Glad you pointed that out.
Oh, Gladiator, he's going for a solo kill. Not really a solo kill, Moira is here too, but it's not going to be enough damage in the end. Sandwraith comes in, and he will. He ports in the deserted, but look at this now. All of a sudden they're all here in Wild Soul Andromeda, but they can't get into the damn trees, or can they? Aurora comes out, there's the Comet stun. Gladiator is not really, he was kind of falling back there. He might want to help his teammate. He is trying to run in now. Pitfall comes out. It is going to connect actually on a Wild Soul. And Wild Soul's in trouble all of a sudden, although he pops his ultimate form, hoping to live. There goes the Undying, though. And down it goes Wild Soul. The TP's coming in, but they get here late. However, Lord South Force, he got a little too confident. He ain't that tanky, at least just yet. And he ends up going down. So the Pitfall, almost got Andromeda right there. Wouldn't have been a kill, though. And now Gladiator falls back once again. So it's just going to be nonstop, apparently. These teams just love to fight here at this bottom lane.
Yeah, and although South Forest, who's farming very well, does go down, they did kill the Wild Soul, and that's going to keep Tankafet at under 250 GPM, which is actually a pretty big deal because Wild Soul is one of those heroes that, he does farm incredibly fast, but they're keeping him down to a point where he's not getting out of control, and they already have a way of dealing with him with the Undying from South Forest, so they're doing a really good job of applying a lot of pressure to Tankafet and not letting him get out of control. And Wild Soul is a hero that, if he doesn't get out of control, he kind of starts to fall off as the mid-game rolls around. So they're doing a really nice job on Fresh's side of addressing Tankafet.
Yeah, and again, this really does go back to the lineup here. Pretty greedy heroes in both Clanks and Wild Soul. As Andromeda, oh my god, she actually gets out. Well, does she? No. Okay. I had to think there for a second. Yeah, because the Undying. Yeah, good luck with that. It reminds me of the Slither toxicity way back in the day. It used to work, so.
Yeah, we almost never see Slither anymore.
God,
One of those heroes that just died off. Top lane, Cthulhu Font.
Yeah, he's going to try to get away here. He's going to be good. Oh, never mind. He got pulled back. I was wondering where he went. That's why. Showdown brings him back. Thus, the easy kill set up. So, that one they do secure. So, you take him out. So, well played.
One thing to note.
Yep.
Oh, mid lane.
Are they fighting? Trying to. No.
Okay, one thing to note, though, is that the Sandwraith, who was pretty much the suicide lane for Hellborn, is actually getting really close to sort of the high at 15 minutes in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I was wondering, Probus to me, okay, I guess the mock is still, nothing going to be surprising, but I do wonder what build Probusca is going to go, because I know this whole staff, the Restil Stone, has been a pretty popular thing for several, but Probus just doesn't seem like that kind of player, as we kind of were going over earlier, so something tells me he's going to go more of a combat style, like the Firebrand, the Geometer's Bane, more, I guess you could even call it like an old school.
I'd personally really like to see a Resto Stone after Mach. If he can pick up the Mach in the next couple of minutes, and that's going to do so much damage, not only against the Wild Soul, but it's going to stop portal keys from both Kraken and Cthulhu Font, as well as something to note is that it's going to knock, if Clanks uses the Flight, it's going to force him out of the Hawk even quicker with the Mach damage. Middle lane.
Yeah, Sandwraith, he is going to port in. We do see a kill on a Parasite getting a little too deep. Clanks up, he can swap with that Undying. It's just not going to be It's not going to work out in the end. The call to arms hits both right there, but they need to run. They were diving this pretty heavily. So, yeah, they are on the run, and obviously the call to arms buff is also assisting here. Gladiator, he's trying to live the trample through. He should be fine. As, oof, Andromeda, Pitfall. Oh, it's going to hit, but not enough unless Lord Forest has something to say about it. Great combo coming out right there. Those are good combo abilities, man. Pitfall and more Certissimo, they line up perfectly.
Yeah, and there we saw the tablet effectiveness coming in. He uses the tablet to get himself in the position to use that ability. So, just being able to be in range, whether it's on top of your opponent with the life tap or just in range enough to use the more Certissimo tablet is so fantastic on this hero. And Sword was just picked up by Sandra, so full mock will be coming up in the near future, 1,000 gold away.
Man, this is just so unlike Immoboy, especially on Clanks. They only have 300 GPM at 17 minutes into the game. Well, that's what we got. Mix of, again, the lineup and also just how this game has just been so action-packed here.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to the fact that it is so action-packed and the fact that Fresh did a really good job of counterpicking the Clinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. They definitely got several. I guess, yeah, you look at the lineup, pretty much everyone kind of brings something to the table to deal with him. As we do see Soraforus, he's fine. Well, maybe not, actually. What a charge there. Never mind. Thought he was going to get away, but that charge from Kraken changed it. Ends up securing a pretty important kill, of course. Again, Soraforus has been continuing to be on top of the GPM chart, but that will slow him down. But guess who's coming up is that Sandwraith, who has the mock just around the corner now. Just about finished here. How about Wild Soul and his item build? Again, I always find it interesting just seeing the different Wild Soul builds. He goes to Plated Greaves into the Ring of the Teacher. Now a Mighty Blade, I guess, is going to go straight Shrunken here.
Yeah, and I think that's in order to deal with the AoE coming out from Gladiator, as well as he knows the mock is coming up from Sandwraith, which is going to do a lot of damage to both his bear and himself. So if he does choose to go into melee form, he's going to take that shared damage. So he's in a tough spot, obviously not the GPM that he wants to be at, and he kind of needs the Shrunken Head in order to play the pace that the game's been at with constant fights, and he's going to get hit with a combo here from Gladiator.
Jeez, it just all comes out, and you just see his life fall right there. Yeah, that's a great catch. And obviously that is a great power, once again, of this Hellborn team. They have a lot of just catch where it's just out of nowhere, it feels like. All of a sudden, everything's on you, so. Good combo coming out.
I think Gladiator is a really good hero against Wild Soul. Because, mid.
Philibon going in.
Ooh, Arcane Vortex, though, will stall it now. Again, they don't have the call to arms right here. Was used before. Parasite, he is going to face hug in still. He wants an Andromeda. He is going to go down. It's a pretty greedy play. There was a buyback on Tank Effect, by the way, as the fight was breaking out. They also do deny the middle tower, so curious about that buyback there. I guess, figured a fight was breaking out, so it kind of made sense at the time, but unfortunately just didn't get a whole lot out of it. Although they are going to counter push now. Maybe they are.
Kraken going in, not going to go for the charge, though. Yeah, if they can get this tower, which it looks like Fresh isn't going to give up for free, Andrew going to get caught as well. So yeah, unfortunately that buyback from Wild Soul only proving to really get a tower deny out in the end. Not really the most favorable for ECX, since they didn't get that mid-tier 2 in return. So that's unfortunate. But a nice job by Fresh to not give that up for free.
Absolutely. So we
and
see. Go ahead.
Clanks has gone a sustainer here, so he's going to look to go for a Nullstone. But again, there's so many single target abilities coming out from Hellborn. I really don't know how effective this is going to be in the end. Yeah, there's just so many spells that he has to go through.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I wonder. Obviously, the Sandwraith is the big thing, but yeah, you're right. I mean, everyone really has something that actually will remove it. So it is one of those cases of it's good, but it's not. So we'll see how that works for him. I will say the Undying from South Forest. I think it's safe to say his priority is probably going to be Wild Soul. But at the same time, if he
Yeah.
can get it on the Clanks, he's pushed up and prevent him from killing up or killing him before he gets away, could be big. So
Yeah, I mean, as you pointed out, Wild Soul definitely the primary target, but Arcane Vortex going out onto Clanks here. They're gonna try to go fight.
trying to kill Clanks. There we go. They kill Clanks in the end. Lord Salforus, he's not going to be able to remain alive despite the life tap. Well, the call to arms coming out, and now Kraken, he is low. Off to the side, you see Sam Wraith, he's sitting on the cliff right here. That Mock of Brilliance, if anything, doing work. Double tap for him. They also pick off Zane right there. Clanks does buy back, by the way, as does Wild Soul. It's a hat trick for Panty, but now here comes the turn. Sam Wraith, however, he's going to kite away. Panty trying to survive. In the meantime, he does have a TP. The bank connects, though. I don't think he's getting out of this one. He will go down. So the buybacks actually do work out pretty well for them, despite Wild Soul dying again, actually. Or no, that was Kraken that bought back that. Okay, so it was Kraken and Clanks that bought back. But anyways, point still stands that if it wasn't for those buybacks, I mean, I guess that would have been a genocide. So that worked out in the end for them.
It pretty much was a genocide, though, since...
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, yeah, and on top of that, Sandwraith never died, so definitely a win still for Fresh. Forcing out 2 buybacks, and Busk doesn't die here. That's pretty important.
You see Sandwraith now, the shrunken head, I'm guessing, with that Mighty Blade. So, yeah, not going to be going the Resto Stone.
Yep, that's standard Busk build.
Yep.
Nothing short of defensive. And
Maybe I think we might actually see he might go the Geometers this game. I think that Resta would be good just because of the fact that he can take off the Null Stone right away and then pop right back in. But I also think that I think Firebrand on a hero like Sandwraith is so essential. And the mobility bottom lane.
This is interesting. If they can catch him right here, Sandwraith, he's going to pour it in. We do see the Null Stone. He clicked on him right there. Oh. Okay, so in the end, Clanks is going to be able to get away. Arcane Vortex not going to matter there. Yeah, that was interesting with the Null Stone. So it didn't actually go off from the Mirage. It went off from something else initially. But then after the Desert's Curse was not affected by it, so... Anyways, the point is that they are able to respond, although getting no kills out of it.
ECX gets a free tower thanks to creeps in the top lane. That's nice.
Nice bonus gold for them. How about Sasuke, by the way? This is interesting with the Insanitarius build on Gladiator. That is not a usual item at all. I'm glad.
No, but yeah, actually I've never seen that before. What do you think about that, Formos?
I think it's decent. It gives him a lot of survivability and damage. I would like to see, I guess Parasite's going to pick up the armor auras, but I don't think Gladiator needs to really go that tons of damage route. I think he can go more utility. Well, I guess he's doing the Shroud now. I mean, I like it. He'll be able to get on the Clanks and his whips over. Oh.
Yeah, this is a pretty big catch there on a Gladiator. Got him roaming about. You see Self-Force and more were nearby, but they can't do much. Double damage Wilds will help him with the whole cause. And now they're going to go right into the Conqueror pit. So good rotation in with Gladiator speaking of him. He's going to stay dead here. This should be a free Conqueror kill. I don't think the Hellborn team is going to look for a fight without Gladiator up. Well, maybe?
They have a Word of Sight in the pit, so they have Mirage ready to go. They could look to try to injure this here.
Well, I guess you're right. Yeah, there's a possibility. I mean, Gladiator's up in 20 seconds. If they can stall it, if anything, for just that much longer, but probably not going to happen. Yeah,
Mach will disrupt the portal keys, though, if they go in.
Oh, but if they catch Sandwraith first, that's even bigger. Now it's 100% dead. And the Hellborn team, why are we even remotely close still is beyond me, but they're going to try for it. Here we go. Conqueror's dead. Token alive. Oh, Conqueror's not even dead. What am I saying? Down goes Parasite. And there goes Conqueror now. So... yeah, to even try still after your Sandwraith dies there, that seemed a little silly for Fresh.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a misplay by ProBusk. Because when he was running over there earlier, he they had a ward in the pit, so they saw the team kind of react and run towards him, so he knew they had a ward there. But he still decided to run up, and then he got gone on.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised as well that he wasn't just off pushing top or something, for instance, or even the jungle, because he did have Mirage available to just port into the Conquer pit if they were going to go for the ninja slash fight. So, a little surprised that he was even in the middle lane hanging around to begin with.
Yeah, that seemed a little odd for sure. But, I mean, yeah, it's a good point about Probusta. Definitely, as we were talking about, they had the word there and should have maybe reacted at least slightly to that possibility, but in the end wasn't able to. And, man, that just went so well for Evil Corporation. And what's definitely seemed like Fresh has kind of been in very slight control, if anything. It's kind of taken away now. And in favor of Eva Corporation here, because now you have Clanks just starting to get some pretty big farm. You got Wild Soul. Has he bought anything? I guess not. I mean, he did buy back, and he's not going the craziest farm, so that makes sense. Only 330, but crazy farm belongs to Clanks now. 540 gold per minute. This is the Imba Boy Clanks that we've definitely come to love here. As far as the players.
Yeah, it's almost like in a matter of a couple minutes, Impa Boy turned it up to what we're used to seeing. He was having a very tough early game. Initiation here.
So yeah, Forest caught. There's that Arcane Vortex again. Now they are going to be able to set up pretty well this time. Here comes the call to arms buff. There goes the Mirage from Samwraith. Here's a chance at least. Samwraith is going to port in. Kraken will end up falling. It's just chaos all over. Swap on the Parasite. And Clanks will go down to the background, but the Legion team is all dead. Clanks is alive. He comes back up with the token, but now he needs to kite away, which he's going to do. But there is the Wombo combo coming to fruition there for the Hellborn team. That was a thing of beauty. Wow.
Yeah, that was really nice. And they were able to burn the token, so ECX wasn't able to get really too much out of that token in terms of towers, other than that one in the bottom lane. So it was a really big fight for Fresh, and evens out the game a bit more.
A little bit right there. I mean, they almost got Clanks too. He actually stuck around and he almost got hit by the pitfall. And then that could have really done it in. But the fact that at least he lived is kind of that, oh, at least that happened for ECX. But yeah, this definitely is going to really turn out to be one of these just back and forth battles. You can tell with the way things are happening right now. But you are going to have a sheepstick on Lord Forest here very, very shortly. Coming up, the level 3 puzzle box, of course, on Parasite. And how about a Gladiator now going the Assassin Shroud to follow up the Insanitaries? Again, pretty different style of build here.
I like the Shroud. It lets him position himself and make sure that he can get his his whip off.
Eldorado, Cthulhu Font.
This is big catch. Yeah, they're going to jump on top of Samwraith, though. He's coming in. Clanks, the Undying's on him. He's in trouble. He's flying away. Parasite goes in, but the swap. What a swap. That was perfect timing, and now Samwraith, he's in a bad spot. With the Shrunken Head, it doesn't matter. Release the Kraken, pulls him in. They went all in to try to kill that Clanks right there, and it clearly did not work. So losing Samwraith in the process, not killing Clanks. That was big for ECX this time, of course.
Yeah, and that was a pretty chaotic fight, but I believe the Arcane Vortex came out at the same time as the Call to Arms did, so unfortunately I believe the Call to Arms missed. And didn't really hit anybody, at least I believe so. So I think that's why that didn't go as well as it could have for Fresh.
Mm-hmm. What did, well, I think he just bought an Abyssal Skull, so they have that now to their benefit. A couple of 3 melee heroes, in fact, but also just the nice armor. But the lifesteal alone for Wild Soul himself is obviously pretty big to have. Zane ended up going to Helm of the Black Legion. I don't even know if I noticed that until now, but yeah, I believe he actually just got that more recently, so that would be why. So you said you like the Assassin Shroud idea here on Gladiator. Is there another fight? How we try to get a discussion going, and they just start fighting here. Lord Forest, he is going to run. Mirage going to be used. I don't think he's porting, though. Just simply to kind of scare them off here, so that at least accomplishes that. But now Mirage is on cooldown, and of course, Evil Corporation is very aware of this.
Yeah, Formless, you want to comment on the Shroud?
Yeah, I like Shroud because it gives him a lot of mobility. It allows him to position himself to get off his spells and his whip, while overall adding a lot of damage. Um, I think after that Shroud, he should either go a Shrunken Head or a Rift Shards. But if this game goes long enough, I think Gladiator Whip could be a pretty big deal, especially with the Wild Soul, because the hero Wild Soul gets destroyed by Gladiator because of all of the AoE spells and the AoE damage coming out. The Wild Soul just drops, and I really think Gladiator, if this game goes long enough, at least, could be the winning factor for his team.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, when it seems like just nice sustained physical damage, especially, he will be able to provide a good amount, of course, with the style ability. Yeah, the Call to Arms is always going to be very useful into that late game. So there's a last outer tower kill, though, in the meantime, by Evil Corporation, and Clank's now jumping over 600 gold per minute even. He has another 2,700 gold saved up. So now I'm curious about him. Does he go the Wingbow next, or will he actually maybe get a Geometer Spain here?
I don't think Wingbow is the biggest deal here. I mean, Hellborn doesn't have that many auto attackers. I think if he just tanks up, like maybe like a Geos, Frost Wolf, or even maybe going to Geos into the Shroud route would be better.
Yeah.
I think I have to agree. I think Geos is pretty good whenever you're going up against a Parasite. You can disjoint a lot of his spells, as well as remove the face hug if it's ever on you. Clank's not really one of those heroes that really cares a whole lot about being silenced, but it's still nice to have. And I think it can remove the slow from Sandwraith as well. Maybe that's more of the bigger one. So, and as well as the Mana Sunder. But again, I don't think those abilities are really going to be focused on Clanks per se.
Yeah. A little bit of a chase there as Parasite is able to get in the Vagabond later and run away, but going to be fine. Man, Andromeda's managed to actually get some decent farm, just noticing that here. 230 gold per minute as a Void Talisman, just got a full Energizer actually, as well as decent items around it, so good for him. As far as Moira on the other side, not so much. Unless she bought a portal key or something like that, she just doesn't have. Doesn't look like it. So yeah, really just been investing into the wards here. Not bringing a whole lot as far as support. And again, that's in terms of items at least, so of course. But that's pretty important because you know that's really just now one more hero. That's that many more items that this Legion team is able to have to use. The Energizer being the big one. Then it's just a nice support item to have that they wouldn't have had unless Andromeda was somewhat farmed. So that's.
Yeah, and when Andros swaps out somebody, he's going to get the bonus armor from the swap, so he's going to be really tanky on top of having some more stats now. So it's just going to further enhance his ability to get off, multiple stuns, as well as stay there in the team fight with the aura. I mean, the aura is, we talked about the Aurora in, I think it was the last game, but the Dimensional Link, Andros is one of the best scaling supports simply due to these two abilities. If you're able to stay alive as an Andro, as the team fight further and further progresses, you're just further helping your team's damage output that much more. Cheap stick onto Andro as we talk about him.
Yep, in fact, there we go. Big burst onto him overall. Meanwhile, they catch Wild Soul as well. Samwraith coming in with the Shrunken Head. They want to make this kill happen. Out comes the Undying. Wild Soul should drop, but Samwraith also in trouble. Wild Soul does go down. They'll release the Kraken in the background, but the Arcane Vortex right on top of it, really. And they're going to come out as, they're going to run away, though. Kraken, he goes down. South Forest standing his ground. Clanks gets caught by the pitfall in the end. And now Clanks also in trouble. Yep, he will fall. The fight, a success for Fresh right here. And did nobody really die? Wow. Yeah, nobody died on their side. And again, you got to think the Call to Arms is a big credit for that, with them barely surviving.
Yeah, look at how low pretty much everybody is on Fresh's side, minus, I think, South Forest. Everybody's sitting at, 500 or less HP. And they're all really tanky heroes, so.
Yeah, that's big. Again, the Call to Arms, no forums you were mentioning. If they're going to win this game, he's going to have to be a big, big part of it. And no doubt, Sluske has been, and again, continues to just be an absolute back and forth. It almost feels like this game has been longer. It's really 35 minutes, which is still a good length game, of course, but there's still plenty of game left at this rate. So, buckle in right here, I guess you could say.
There's the Resto Stone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Good pickup.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually, against the Nullstone Clanks.
The only problem I have, I mean, it's a really really good pickup. Don't get me wrong. The only problem I have is if he had that the same like around the time when he had the shrunken, I think there was only maybe the Wild Soul at that point in the game that had the shrunken, and now there's three heroes that do have shrunkens picked up. So he's gonna have to. He's not gonna be able to just resto and use the both of the ultis right away. He's gonna have to be a little bit more patient and wait for those shrunkens to wear off. But it's gonna be a great pickup.
Well, yeah, I gotta say I am a little surprised. Again, being Probus the player more so, I honestly figured we were gonna see more of the Geometer's Bane and things like that. But goes the rest of it. Now the question is, does he go staff even, or does he now go into the right click style of build? So we'll see. Do you think the staff would be still worthwhile here?
I mean, staff could be good because of the superior fear, but I think it's personal preference. But I think Geos would be better.
Okay. Conqueror's up. You see the Legion team is interested, but can't just
Top
really
lane
do
there,
it.
you might be going for Busk here, or Parasite.
I was gonna say Parasite sees them if anything though. I don't know if that was a plan or not, but now Cthulhu gets caught. All the mana's gone, life is gone as well. Clank sitting on the cliff though. He's dealing a lot of damage, but a good Arcane Vortex will stall that. Meanwhile, in the background, another fight kind of going on. Cauldron Arms coming out. Sandwraith pops the ultimate himself, of course, on the chase. Wild Soul, he's on the run this whole time. Clank's on the run as well. Now he's gonna open out of the Assassin Shroud. Gladiator dead. Gladiator buys back though, actually, and Sandwraith is able to chase down that Wild Soul. And now Clank's again, just simply on the run. There was a double Mirage used there by Sandwraith, by the way, in the midst of all that chaos. So the buyback on Gladiator, but again, they come out on top of another fight here. And they may do Congo now. Yeah, they're definitely doing Congo here.
Yeah, the buyback kind of secures a for sure Convoy.
Yeah, and Fresh is doing a nice job of just focusing down everybody but the Clanks and taking them out fairly quickly. And we even saw in that fight, I think it was Sandwraith was like next to the Clanks, but he just used the resto and he didn't even care. He poured it into a Kraken ult, but just to make sure that they killed everybody but the Clanks and then worry about dealing with Imbaboy last. So it ended up working out really nicely for them.
Did you notice that Moira actually saved the Parasite's life by vortexing the Clanks, also keeping him out of the fight for a few seconds?
Yeah,
I actually did not. And yeah, the Mana Sunder caused a lot of problems for Cthulhu Font, actually not allowing him to trample. He died, I believe, first in the fight, and he is very tanky.
Yeah, it's almost it's funny that you say that with killing everyone around the Clanks and just trying. But I mean, usually that would be considered a bad thing because again, Clanks can do a lot of damage. But yeah, it's a mix of locking him down, as we talk about, with the Arcane Vortex, if anything, kind of splitting the fight up and then killing everyone around him in that sense. So that's where it does work, and they are executing that pretty well, clearly. And I also got to say, I mean, Wild still has had no influence, it feels like, as far as damage output, at least in these fights. Every single time it seems like he's the main target, if anything. Again, the Undying used on him, so.
Yeah, and I think Formless made a good point earlier. I think the Gladiator really is being the X factor. I don't think we're really able as casters and viewers to really see the impact of the call to arms in the fights, but they're really sustaining themselves very well. On top of being, a pretty tanky team, having that call to arms buff in the fights is really proving to, I think, be the X factor.
Yeah. Oh, Sandwraith, or not Sandwraith, but Gladiator, he's making use of the showdown right there as well. That's something that can be pretty nifty, showdown yourself or a teammate and allow you to kind of go up, scout it out, and then be sent back, of course. So clever strategy there. Sandwraith, another 2,400 gold saved up. Of course, has that token for another 3 minutes here. So wonder when that timing is going to come out of. We want to try to make use of this. So it seems like around now as they're headed towards the bottom lane. Trying to clear out camps now. Another 3,200 gold on Clanks. Probably going to finish the full Genjiro here. And eventually the Geometer's Bane, you would think. So has several upgrades to make here to his inventory before he's feeling really good, of course.
Yeah, and there is the eventual getting rid of the Thunderclaw for an even bigger and better item as well. So he himself has a lot of room to grow still. Through at least a couple of these slots. Even the Firebrand could be upgraded. So there are still 3 items that he can essentially upgrade or change.
Something else, too, Oh, and something I was going to announce, guys. Sorry, getting distracted there for a second. So it looks like the other series is happening. It is going to be happening. The Reason Gaming versus 2-0, the Group B losers bracket matchup. Mathematical is actually going to be casting it currently, while we're still casting this one at least. So he's got his stream going. I believe they are going to be starting here very, very shortly. So if you want to check that out, get some split stream going on, feel free to. But if anything, we should look to hop into that one and cover that one when this one happens to wrap up here. So bottom tower, though, in the meantime, going to go down here as Lord Self-Force pushes it in. So that's every outer tower but the top one, actually. Wow, really? That copy-paste. That happened.
Okay, so it looks like actually Sarenth is going the Wingbow route, which is pretty decent against the Planks and a Wild Soul. But he is still fairly squishy.
Yeah, yeah, I guess you could say that.
So you would have liked, was it the Geo's Bane you were talking about earlier?
Like a Geo's, a Staff of the Master, a Frost Wolf.
Okay. Something to give him some more stats. Okay.
Wow, that very aggressive swap on his Force, but it works out big time. They burst him down. Here comes the call to arms. Several fights going on right here. Gladiator's just simply trying to run. There's the Arcade Vortex, though, now. Will they be able to combo off this? Double Mirage already used. Sandwraith, I don't even know where the real one is. Okay, there he is. The Sharknet's popped. And now he's looking to chase it down several, but the release of Kraken pulling him in again. He has a token, remember. He may end up falling right here. Lord South-Forest, by the way, he comes back. He actually bought back about post-haste. So he's going to go, what a pitfall there. That's a big one right there. Down goes Wild Soul, and now Kraken, he's on the run as well. Don't dive too much, though, if you're the Hellborn team. Penny, he's going to, no, he does not live as he tried to infest at the last second to survive. But the rest are going to run right here and be done with it unless the pitfall. It does hit Andromeda, so we're not done just yet. Gladiator gets caught. Lord Southport's holding his own, though. He's going back, chasing out his clanks, but it's so hard to do that effectively with that Hawk that he has, of course. Meanwhile, back over here now, Cthulhu Fawn, he tramples back in. He takes out Mora. These are such close cases. Sheepstick on a Clancy gets swapped out. The stun on Sarenth is well played by Andromeda right here. The kite's real now. The Goon Squad comes out. He gets the cut of Sarenth. He does fall to South Forest, but down goes South Forest. And it will be a genocide for Evil Corporation to finish it. But, I mean, I got to say, a lot was used, though, of course, to do so. But still, that was pretty ridiculous of a fight again.
Yeah, that was a really good hold by ECX. They were able to, as you pointed out, swap in the Self-Forest and burst him down, forcing a buyback out of him. And they won that fight dealing with a Sandwraith token. So we got a lot of game left, I feel, here, Breaky.
Yeah, again, this has been that way. It's definitely felt like that kind of game, even earlier on, and we most certainly do, especially after another crazy fight like that one. I mean, no racks have been destroyed yet. Now coming up to 44 minutes, I think that's another big factor as well. Buybacks, both teams have used a couple. Everyone still has at least one. So, yeah, again, there is plenty of game left here for sure. So, I really think, again, going back to Lord South, not South-Forest, but Gladiator, he's 3,200 gold. I really want to see what he goes for next year, because definitely him dishing out damage, I think, will prove to be very important here. I want to see those Rift Shards, man. Maybe it's because I just want big numbers, but, man, I want Rift Shards.
No, I agree with you. I think getting rid of, like, maybe the power supply and just swapping it out for a Rift Shards. If he's able to get to a Rift Shards 4, and he can get a whip crit with the Shroud in a team fight, oh, man, that could do so much damage.
See Wild Soul, yeah, I keep wanting to say, like, you know, he's having gold saved up, but no, 1,800 gold's not bad, but this is just a scalp, by the way, yeah. Only 310 gold per minute, and so Tankafet really has not been able to get a whole lot going at all for his Wild Soul here, which honestly is very rare, it feels like. I mean, it feels like nowadays, if anything, Wild Soul should be able to get, you know, really good, but maybe it does go back to, again, just having the clanks. He's wanting to absorb so much farm, so it's kind of hurting.
Yeah, Fresh did a really nice job of just addressing him throughout the entire game, as well as we talked about in the draft. They picked really well to deal with Wild Soul. So he's basically just transitioned into a aura or a tanky hero for his team. You know, he's got the Abyssal and the Bulwark, so just gonna further help his team through items that way. Which I agree with 100%. If you're counterpicked and you struggle a lot, just building like this can be really effective even when you're struggling.
If you didn't notice the last fight, actually, he actually just charged at like the back line, making them cast spells on him, so they weren't using them on the clanks.
Yeah, that's a really good job by Tanka if that was the case.
Yeah, it's tank is a term. I know it's got a mixed emotions on the term itself. It's the idea of you can't really taunt people, you know, to force you attack you unless you're, well, of course, you're like a Legionnaire. But in this case, yeah, if you kind of send yourself up, then you know why wouldn't they? If you're in their face, in that case, maybe they have to if anything, try to get away. So.
Yeah, and although a lot of the times, or you'll go into the game with like the plan of, you know, this person focuses this person. As team fights are happening, sometimes you tunnel vision, and whatever's in front of you can be what you end up hitting or using your spells on. So that can be the case a lot of the times when big chaotic fights are going on, and you got, you know, 5 Sandwraith illusions hitting your team and whatnot. So
Yeah. See the soul.
So Sandwraith,
Bulwark?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Sandwraith could finish his Wingbow here, but knowing that Clank still has an extra item in the Thunderclaw, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually did pick up a Genjuro.
Yeah. Genjuro onto onto Sandwraith? Yeah.
Yeah, on the Sandwraith. It's a possibility. I'm not saying that it's a for sure thing, but
That's fair. Yeah. Is that really as good though on a Sandwraith?
I mean, Genjuro is an amazing item on any carry, really. It gives him a little extra mobility to get away. For instance, if he gets caught in like a Kraken ult. But Andro does have an eye.
yeah, whenever you're a melee carry, just if there's a threat of you being kited, in this case, you know, you're going up against a Clanks who is really good at kiting. The Genjuro could definitely allow him to eliminate some of the kite factor and stay on his target, whichever he chooses. So, Genjuro is a really good item in the late game for kiting purposes.
Whew. Right as Conger responds,
Conger.
they go to the pit here. So there is no vision, unless I'm missing something. Yeah, I don't think they have the vision. There we go. Now they definitely do. Mirage comes out. He has a second one still, so it's going to scatter the Legion team for now. Does he go? He kind of does. He has a second one. They're going to force a fight. Gets the one win in first. There's the charge as well. And Moira is dead off the bat. She couldn't get her Arcade Vortex off. Sandwraith, meanwhile, he will go down before he can do a damn thing. The call to arms, it got there a little bit late. Sandwraith bought back, by the way, and he used his second ultimate now, so now he's back into the fight. Clinks is picked off, as is well. So what a buyback for Sandwraith. The hat trick for Probusk. I guess that could have been the plan from the beginning. And they clean them up, and near genocide, and they're going to steal Conger on top of it all. Man, that looked scary for a second for Fresh, but it worked beautifully when it was all said and done.
Yeah, it was a really good job by Probusk to not use the Resto Stone before he did go down, because had he done that, he wouldn't have been able to pour it into the fight. So it was a good heads-up play by him. He took a lot of damage in the initial port-in when he manned up on the Clanks. Clanks, his damage output was really massive, so if there wasn't that buyback by Sandwraith, we could have maybe seen ECX take that fight rather easily. But definitely a really good buyback, and that's going to allow him to pick up the Wingbow, and they're going to give the token to South Forest and the bananas to Sandwraith, interestingly enough.
Huh. That is interesting. What do you guys think of that?
I actually think it's okay because Sandwraith can kind of show up to the fight a little bit later if he chooses to with the Mirage. And South Forest is going to be one of those targets that he's going to be aimed first, in my opinion. And it's really hard to take down the Sandwraith from full to zero without him getting the shrunken head off. So as long as Sheepstick onto Gladiator.
And they're going to go for at least a pick right here. You see pops a shrunken Arcade Vortex in the background. They're not running full, though. They want to turn this. Here we go. Mirage comes out. He doesn't have the second one just yet, but he might not need it. Clex is dead. Just like that. He does have his final buyback. He is going to use it right here. But the Legion team on the run right now. Wild Soul again. He's just trying to simply survive. Kraken, he is actually going to live, but the Infest Parasite, no, he will go down. So they do kind of hold off, again, the second and final buyback on a Clanks. And the rest of the Hellborn team was not interested in fighting after that. So, but the lead is pretty solid here for Fresh now. They got the racks. No more buybacks on Clinks to deal with. It is definitely in their control now in this game.
So yeah, I think it actually makes a fair amount of sense that they put the bananas on the Sandwraith versus the token, because he's not really going to show up to the fight until midway through its progressing, and South Forest is definitely going to be focused down. Sandwraith has the BKB, so he can, he's not going to get bursted from full to zero before getting that off, so he can always just pop the bananas at the right time and go back to full. So I actually think it makes a lot of sense here that they distributed the items in such a manner.
Oop, middle lane. Legion team looking for a jump. Trying to get a pick as things are resetting, but...
Parasite is dead for another 20 seconds. And by the way, has 4,000 gold saved up, so be interested to see where he goes. So actually a lot of gold overall being pulled by the side of Fresh. About 3,000 gold plus on everybody other than Moira.
Yeah,
so
the entire gold lead is being pulled right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of item progression, and Parasite goes for a Cyclone. I would have. It's tough. I would really like to see a Bulwark come out.
They already have a
They already have one, yeah.
South Forest.
Oh, okay. I'm used to seeing it red.
Oh, Parasite, speaking of him, he is caught right here, but there's that Storm Spirit coming into play immediately. However, Moira and now Parasite will fall. But again, here we go. We've seen them turn fights before after a slow start. Sandwraith, he pops this one Mirage right here. He will go in, turning on to Wild Soul. At least Wild Soul goes down. Clanks out to the side. He's just in full kite mode once again. SL Force and Sandwraith chase him down. Meanwhile, over here, Andromeda is going to port out. But it is just Clanks and Andro, the ones left. I think Clanks is going to get away here. Yes, he is. But another case of just not enough firepower right now. It seems like we've had this very similar story in these fights. ECX, they may look good at the beginning, getting a kill or two, but then it just completely starts to turn in the opposition's favor. And again, a mix maybe of the call to arms, a mix of Sandwraith getting in there with his double ultimate and doing more and more damage over time is probably the big factor. So here comes the push. No buybacks, actually, yeah.
Yeah, nobody has buybacks left.
Well, that works. Kill Gladiator right there. So, yeah, don't dive too much, though, for the Hellborn team. This could be the final push coming up, though. They go top now.
They should be able to get Megas off this. There's 3 heroes dead for 25 seconds. And they have a Parasite Ballista. Gonna do a lot of damage here.
Here come the Megas. Obviously, that's going to be so frustrating for ECX. You want to do something, you know that you can't. GGs are being called. Fresh, they are going to 2-0 EVA Corporation here in the time to win Heroes of Nearth Invitational. Thus, moving on to the redemption match, which will take place tomorrow. They're going to play against Mystery Gang in that redemption match to try to make the playoffs taking place next week. As far as EVA Corporation, they're going to come up short, and who would have thought? Again, being knocked down at this point by Mystery Gang and now getting 2-0'd by Fresh here. They are out of the time to win Heroes of Nearth Invitational, and they're going to be focused back onto Cycle 5 now upon Tour Season 4. So what a scene we have, though, right now. Guys, your final thoughts on this game and the series. Formless, we'll start with you.
I have to give it to the Hellborn draft. I think that the draft, the second game, was so well thought out, countering the Wild Soul and the Clinks. And overall, I think that they played amazing. They didn't give up too many picks. They really shut down the Wild Soul. If you look at Tankafet, Tankafet's usually always doing so well, and I think that was a huge factor in them winning the game.